What's going on, everybody? I'm back for a second video, and this is Azami, Lady of Scrolls. A friend of mine had me rebuild this deck after about a year and a half hiatus. He was playing in a 1v1 tournament yesterday, and so we put it together, updated, new stuff, and he won. He did really well. So let's just get right into it. There's the general. The deck has 27 islands, and so I'm not going to show you those, but got to have your fetches for shuffling purposes. Getting islands, of course, but they're awesome. T-West is going to get you Nykthos or Academy Ruins or Pact of Negation. Or if you're playing in another counter deck, rock that Cavern of Souls. There is, I believe, 11 wizards, 11 or 12 wizards in the deck, so obviously you're going to go wizards unless there is some dire need for another type. Academy Ruins, great with all your artifacts. And since you draw so many cards, top decking is negligible. Strip Mine, Steezy. Nykthos, this thing is really good in this deck because of all the multiple and sometimes triple blue requirements on spells. And you can easily go infinite mana with it with a Palinchron, or Mind Over Matter also goes crazy mana with it. Riptide Laboratory, again, awesome with your wizards. If you want to keep drawing cards, you can use this guy with like a Seagate Oracle. If you want to use it on Venser, that's great, or defensively. Some ramp. Alright, so Vedalken Aether Mage is the first part of my little tutor toolbox package. This guy will get us any of our wizards. So if the general gets tucked, this is our best way to get the general back, to get Azami back. Other than that, you're looking at draw, counter, Snapcaster Mage, great value. There's tons of instants and sorceries. Gilded Drake, this guy pretty much speaks for himself. Problem creatures, I'll steal them as often as I will get rid of them. Drift of Phantasms, another part of that tutoring package, for lack of a better word. This is for all of our 3-drops, so Temple Bell, all the tutors, Capsize, which if I have infinite mana is a great way to win the game, alternatively. Or Trinket Mage, he's great. There's a good-sized 1-mana converted artifact package in this deck. Seagate Oracle, as was mentioned, he's great, replaces himself, and he's a wizard, so you can tap for draws. Patron Wizard is really cool to play him before Azami, because then that kind of sets the tone for people. They try to play around it. You might get lucky and counter a couple things, or you just get more draw. But very powerful. Metamorph, make it another Cage Sun, make it another Soul Ring, or make it another Avacyn. You know, whatever is cool on the board at the time. Galenolendra. For a long time I ran this guy with Sage of Fables, but took Sage of Fables out because it didn't do anything else besides persist Galenolendra infinitely. Still a great body and a valuable ability. Archaeomancer, with the blinking from Riptide Laboratory, this guy can be really good for you. It's the poor man's Snapcaster. Sour of Temptation, it's going to pretty much, in this deck, actually better than a Gilded Drake, because you're drawing cards off him as well when you have your general out. Venser, one of the best cards in the game. I love this guy. Psychosis Crawler, this is actually going to be taken out and replaced with a Merchant Scroll, just because we felt like it's win more. You don't really need to have people lose life when you deck them. Magus of the Future, in addition to being crazy good and powerful in his own right, that Sensi's Divining Top is just begging to be played next to him. Same thing with the Future Sight. Teferi, the original general for the deck. he's awesome. There's no knowledge pool, but who cares? This guy really shuts down a lot of different styles. Ethereal Usher. This is our other transmute, and basically if you need Mind Over Matter, you get Mind Over Matter, and if Mind Over Matter has been answered, then you get Time Spiral, and try it again. Draining Welk. In 1v1, this guy is awesome because often it, takes the opponent's big spell out, and then they are forced to answer it, because if it's a 7/7, that puts them on a pretty reasonable clock. Deadeye, just plain dirty with a good handful of the creatures in this deck. Guile, he keeps us from decking ourselves when we're Temple Belling, Mind Over Matter, that sort of thing. And of course, Palancron. Can't be mono blue without Palancron. Yes, there's a High Tide. Speaking of, if you got 27 islands and then 7 fetch lands that only get you islands, or excuse me, 3 fetch lands that only give you islands, you should run back to basics, because worst case scenario, you exile it to your Force of Will. It's just a great card to play because a lot of times people feel compelled to answer it, and that's one answer they're not going to play against Mind Over Matter. Treachery, awesome card. Untap your Nykthos, steal the best creature on the board. Sometimes it's the only control magic you find yourself playing on crappy creatures, so that's pretty cool. Future Sight, awesome. And the house, the way that this deck wins. Hello, Urza. Pact, don't forget, always put a die on your deck. It's illegal. It's in the rules. Brainstorming, that's right, with our shuffle effects it's even better. Misty Tutor, gonna get you exactly what you need. Rapid Hybridization, I would play Pongify, but I don't have a foil, so there's this guy. High Tide, you can use it, something I really like to do, you play it early to get you where you need to be, and then later get it back to your hand with that Archaeum Announcer or that Snapcaster, give it flashback, and then go infinite, and finish the game. Cyclonic Rift, blue's closest thing to a Damnation, but in many ways it's better. I don't know. Awesome card. I love it. Anything blue, of course it's going to be it. Counterspell, and then we're getting into our counters now. Mana Drain, the Steez. Long-term plans, this is going to, of course, get you your Mind Over Matter, and with Azami, you're drawing so many cards that usually you play this at the end of an opponent's turn, and the Mind Over Matter's in your hand. That upkeep. Hinder and Capsa. Oh, I thought that was going to be Spell Crumple, but Hinder and Spell Crumple are always pretty much auto-includes for me in this sort of deck. I think the only blue deck that I don't run Hinder and Spell Crumple in is my Zedru deck. And that's because all those counter spells are Sunforger targets, but that's totally off topic. Capsize is a great alternate win con, as I said earlier. Love this card. Even if you don't have infinite mana, if you've got 15, because you've doubled your mana with Gauntlet or something, have fun with it. There's the Spell Crumble. Forbid, with all the cards that this deck draws, oftentimes you'll just be discarding land that you couldn't have played anyways because you have too many in your hand, and yeah, blah blah blah, this card's a house. Cryptic Command. Really enjoy this because you can use it offensively to protect your combo, or you can use it defensively to, fog, bounce an annoying permanent that's going to hurt you. Yeah, love it. Force of Will. Big Jace, Steezy Jace. This guy also, if we have nothing else, we can potentially win the game off him. That's cool. And then Tez, of course, it's going to get you extra planar lens, or Phyrexian Metamorph, any of those awesome cards you need. Now we're in the sorceries, so we've got Ponder and Preordained, just a little bit of deck lube. Washout. This was at the King's insistence, and this is another card that we can just kind of use as tempo, hold the onslaught back until we get where we need to be, and maybe replay it a couple times with an Archaeum Announcer in the laboratory if need be. Time Spiral. This is if somebody answers your combo, this is going to be your best shot at getting it back. Also, if you haven't hit it yet, it's just nice to get a full hand. I mean, it's a wheel, right? Now we're into our artifacts. Most of this is ramp, so a couple mocks. And Chrome Mox, of course, is great in this deck because there's just a ton of blue cards. Soul Ring, Mana Vault, Wayfarer's Bauble. We really want islands, so it's good. Progenitus, this is the only piece of Grave Hate that I have in the deck. I guess you could call Time Spiral Grave Hate, but I don't really think of it that way. But yeah, most of the time Azami doesn't really care what you're trying to do. She's more concerned with what she's doing. But this is cool because it can replace itself. Sensi's Divining Top. And from here, you might see some guys and go, or some ramp little rocks and think, gosh, that thing sucks, but this is just another Sky Diamond for me. We need that blue mana, so get it any way you can get. Sapphire Medallion is really neat. Lets you play 2 spells instead of 1 in a lot of turns. Scroll Rack, when you're drawing this many cards, it's even better. So, sorry, a little dark. There's Temple Bell. It's a very, very cool way to win because a lot of people enjoy drawing cards until they realize it's too late. Shackles is really great in mono blue. I think we all know that. Stone, I can tutor it a couple different ways, either through Transmute or through Tezzeret, and yeah, it'll save you. Extra Planar Lens, we're getting into the last 3 cards of the deck now. It's just 3 ways to double your mana. Some better than others, but they all get the job done. Alright, that's the deck. Basically, you are just ramping it up and drawing as much as you can into your combo. Many times, it seems like the lock is pretty strong early, and you're just fishing until the game ends. If you have any questions, hit us up in the comments, and thank you very much.